What's up, guys? Welcome to another Natty Bros video. And what we want to talk about today is, are Devon Larratt's antics too much? So we would love to hear your guys' opinions. Put that down in the comments. But we want to use 3 matches from the last East vs. West to kind of talk about this topic. So on one extreme, you have Devon versus Oleg. And during the whole run up to this contest, Devon has been on Oleg, and he's been talking trash, making videos, and then during the match, he's speaking in Russian to him. He's every single match, every single thing that happens, he's talking trash. He's getting in his head. So that's one extreme, and then the other extreme of like sportsmanship is Yoshi and Toddzilla. They're both super respectful, zero trash talking. They're smiling during the match. They hug each other right after. Great sportsmanship. So those are the 2 extremes. And then like in the middle, which I'd say is usually what we see the most in arm wrestling matchups, is like Michael Todd versus Gennady, where it's pretty intense. They're yelling when they win a match, but there's no like trash talking. But they're not like smiling like Toddzilla and Yoshi was. But they're intense, they're yelling. So like what is the ideal like sportsmanship? Like, should Devon be allowed to not be allowed, but like is that good for the sport? Like, is he not being a good sportsman? Is like John Brzenk would never do that. Like, is that we should all be like John Brzenk, or like is Devon growing the sport?
I mean, Devon's obviously grown the sport more than anyone else has. We all know that. And I mean, I started arm wrestling because of Devon. The question is though, like now in this moment, is Devon hurting the sport or is he helping it? Because WAL is a lot different. The whole setup was different. It wasn't as much social media. There wasn't as much stuff leading up to matches, so they weren't built up as much, but they were still pretty popular, and it was still growing the sport. And it was not nearly the same as trash talking. That's only been the past couple of years, really. Like even Devon versus Michael Todd, King of the Table, that that wasn't that much trash talk from what I remember. Like there wasn't.
Yeah,
There was a little bit here and there.
but yeah, like during the WAL matches, Devon had some famous stuff. Like when he was going against Dave Chafee, he's like, "Yeah, big boy," and there was, he did kind of have a similar mindset, because I remember Dave Chafee being upset about the whole like run up to the match because Devon was being a lot. So he's always kind of been like that. But I feel like recently it's just been like a lot, and like everyone, like he even apologized right after the match. He was saying stuff like how he treats it like war, and like he just needs a complete victory, like not only physically in the arm wrestling, but he needs to like defeat them mentally and psychologically too. So it's like he treats this like very seriously, and he needs just a complete victory.
I mean, Devon, the pay-per-views that he's on, they make way more sales.
Yeah.
So people are trying to watch it. Like I think he's one of the most paid arm wrestlers, if not like he's the most paid arm wrestler probably.
Oh yeah,
And
100%. Like he has 1 million subscribers. He has such a reach. He pulls in more numbers and more people than anything.
when I tell people that I do arm wrestling, they're like, "Oh, like Devon Larratt," because they have no idea how to say it or whatever.
I was talking to someone at the gym today, and I mentioned arm wrestling, and he said he knows 2 arm wrestlers, Devon Larratt and the arm wrestling whisperer.
Yeah, so like the most famous arm wrestlers right now in the world, not in the arm wrestling community, are Devon Larratt, Schoolboy, Akimbo 69 or whatever his name is,
arm whisperer,
and then like the arm whisperer guy. Like those are the most popular.
And Levon. I think Levon's pretty well known too.
Nobody, like I've never had someone say, "Oh, I know Levon." They'll be like, "Oh, do you know that guy who whispers and wears the sunglasses?"
Yeah.
Or that like skinny dude, and they're talking about Kimbo or Devon.
Oh, one of the other guys I was talking to,
or Schoolboy.
He was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do next? Slap fight?" For some reason, I get this every time. Like anytime I tell someone like I arm wrestle, they always like, "Oh, do you slap fight too?" And it's happened like 5 times, and like I've seen the meme, and then it's like happened to me. It literally happened today. It was so weird. I was like, why do people equate arm
wrestling
wrestling
to
with
slap fight.
with slap fight. I don't get it.
I don't either. They're, I guess the people, what I would ask them, be like, why? What made you think they're
Yeah.
oh, they're two niche sports, but Devon, I don't think is really building the sport as much now as he was before. I, personally, I don't think what he's doing is helping the sport as much. I mean, the sport's still growing. I think everyone is overhyping how much it's growing. I made a post about this on Reddit, the arm wrestling Reddit, and I was like, people are saying arm wrestling is growing so much, so much, but guess what? Everyone who I tell that I do arm wrestling, they're still like, really? I didn't know that was a thing. Is it really growing that much, or is it only growing in certain countries? We're in New England. Arm wrestling is reasonably big in New England. We have some of the biggest tournaments in the U.S. We have Jerry Carteret, we have Robinson Jr., we have on the East Coast, we have Paul Lynn is around here, somewhat around here. We have a lot of pretty big names, and arm wrestling is reasonably popular in New England, but it's still nothing really.
Yeah, I think like most of the growth is being done inside the arm wrestling community. So like quality of matches is going up. So like every card is usually really good. And then I think like arm wrestling fans are being more involved. Like they're buying more pay-per-views. Like I know they're always touting like, "Oh, we sold this many pay-per-views." But at the end of the day, it's like it's only arm wrestling fans. Like we're not getting out to a wider audience
Exactly.
at all. The only people who are getting out to a wider audience are like Devon, Schoolboy. Like those videos are getting out to everyone. And then even like I think Audin's on that path too because doing like the arm wrestling as the Joker video, like that will attract outside people and get them into the sport. If it's a $20 pay-per-view for a really like stacked card, that's awesome, but no outside person's gonna buy that. They're just gonna wait till it goes on YouTube.
So in the end, though, Devon's antics aren't really growing the sport. I would say they're probably hurting it because the things that are getting the most views, like if you look at on YouTube, what are the most viewed YouTube videos? So like RVJ, he has that one video with his daughter arm wrestling a boy, and that one had like, I don't know, it was ridiculous. It was millions of views. The videos that it would be like Devon arm wrestling some random person, arm wrestling Shaq. That's what gets the most views and attracts the most people. Our video where we arm wrestled strangers at the beach, we had a lot of people commenting on that who weren't arm wrestlers. Like those are the types of things that are actually building the sport because people are like, oh shoot, what's this? Oh cool, I kind of want to try this out, and that's what is getting them. It's not like the big super matches as much, in my opinion, because that's not really what I've seen. People are like, oh yeah, I saw this random video and then I was interested. That's how I was. I saw a random Devon short or something. It wasn't one of his big super matches where he's trash talking people. Like that's not how the sport's growing as much as people think.
Yeah, and I think that brings up another topic where you start thinking about like the WWE stuff. So like one of the most popular arm wrestling videos out there is when Devon arm wrestled that bodybuilder and it was all scripted and they fought. It's like, should we be doing stuff like that? And then I hated this. It was like Arm Gods or something when two of the guys had like tacks on the pads and then like I think it was Uncle John was like bleeding and it was all fake. I hated that.
I didn't even watch that.
That was the worst arm wrestling thing I've ever seen. It was like disgusting. It wasn't entertaining. It was just such a joke. That made me so mad. But like the Devon video when he went against like the bodybuilder, that didn't really bother me. But like I don't think.
But that's all fake though. Like these are real super matches where he's actually trash. Like it's some of it is probably scripted. I mean, some of it is scripted.
Well, what I'm saying is like to grow the sport, should we be doing stuff like that? And I don't think that organized tournaments should be fake like that.
Yeah.
If like Devon wanted to do that fake video with the bodybuilder, I think that's fine. But like I don't think arm wrestling promoters should be making tournaments like that. I think that's ridiculous. But like if YouTubers want to do that to help, I guess, grow the sport, I think that's fine.
I mean, I have my first big super match coming up in New York, and I talked to him before, and I was like, hey, maybe we'll do some funny, like, I'll shove him or something, but, like, all is a joke, and, like, maybe we'll do something like that, but in the end, like, I don't want to disrespect anybody. Like I want the arm wrestling community. The thing that attracts me is that everyone's so close knit, and that everyone is friends. Like I've I've met Devon, I've met Jerry, I've met John Brezink, I've met Ron Bath, Travis Bajan, I've Michael Todd. Like I've met a lot, pretty much all the big names in North America. Um, Giannis Amelin's one of the greats. I've met a lot of guys, and we trained with Rob Vision Jr. He was one of the first people I pulled on an arm wrestling table, and we trained with Jerry Cataract. We've been able to train with a lot of the top guys, and they're no different than us. That's one of the things I like, is they're just people. Like we just chat with them like they're normal people. Not any other sport is that a thing. Like there's this huge celebrity aspect where it's a lot different. Like UFC, you can't just chat with Conor McGregor. Like that's not a thing. In football, you can't just chat with Tom Brady. Like, but it's a lot different in arm wrestling because it is a smaller sport. As it continues to grow, it'll probably get a little less like that. But to me, that's one of the biggest attractions.
Yeah, and I think to grow as a sport to the wider audience, I think we need to be a little bit more on the entertainment side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think we should be doing the fake like nails and all of. I hated that.
Yeah.
But I think we need to gear more towards the professional and entertainment side, and I think that's like what we want to do with the Natty Bros is make like a professional YouTube channel, um, because the arm wrestling niche has some great content, but like Schoolboy, for instance, and Arm Wrestling TV and Alex Topper, like they're professional and they do it really well. So that's kind of like our gold standard. Like we want to create really good content that anyone can watch and reach to a broader audience.
And it's just like, what is going to get the most views to grow the sport, but what are you willing to do to get those views? Do you want to, like, I was thinking, like, do you want to dress up as Spider-Man and go in Boston, because we're in Massachusetts, do you want to go in Boston and be like, hey, can you beat Spider-Man arm wrestling? Like, a lot of the things that would get the most views have already been done. Like, I can't think of many new ideas in arm wrestling that hasn't been done. There's already videos on how to top roll, how to hook, how to press. There's already videos arm wrestling people in public, arm wrestling people at the bar. There's dressing up as an old man arm wrestling. Like there's not a lot of depth to do new things. Like crazy arm wrestling training that's already been done a million times. Like it's kind of to the point where it's like everyone's doing the same content. So it might get a little repetitive.
But if you look in any niche, like if you look in the gaming niche, there's a million videos that are all like the same.
Yeah.
And I think the arm wrestling niche is very small. Like there's not a lot of channels doing videos like that. There might be a handful, but I think more professional YouTube content that attracts like the general audience, I think is needed.
Yeah. Or just like I think a lot of people, a lot of the arm wrestlers don't really have partners or sponsorships. Like arm wrestling TV, they have like almost 2 million subscribers. I don't even know. They have well over 1 million subscribers. They don't have any partnerships or sponsors. Like they're one of the biggest. They actually are the biggest arm wrestling channel, I think.
Yeah.
And they don't have any sponsors. Like that's kind of crazy.
Well, when we talked to Alex, he said he was in talks about it, but it was just all the legal and financial aspects that he wanted to cover.
But still, like Devon isn't sponsored by, like no arm wrestlers are sponsored by any big brands. Like you don't see any arm wrestler sponsored by Adidas. Like you don't see that. And once it gets to that point where they can get some big sponsorships, I think that would grow the sport a lot too. Like Levon being in a movie. I mean, that's something. Even that is growing. I think helped grow the sport probably. But in the end, this video is about Devon, and I think we agree. We also did a poll on our YouTube channel, which I forgot to mention, and pretty much everybody either said the antics are a little too much or I hate it. Like no one really said that they like it. I think like 1 or 2 votes said I like it, and then the rest it was negative towards it.
Yeah, and I think arm wrestlers feel the same way. Like when we were at East First West in Orlando, like everyone would be like, "Okay, get ready for the clown show." Like I remember, I won't say who it was, but one of the competitors was talking to us, and it was right before the Devon match. And after he competed, he said to us, he's like, "Oh, Devon's up. Get ready for the clown show." And it's like that's how arm wrestlers feel, and like, yeah. So that's how arm wrestlers feel, and then it seems like the audience is starting to feel that way.
It's becoming more and more negative. Like there's, because I'm a fan of Devon.
Because he used to be the underdog all the time.
Yeah.
Like he was Superman, he was Wolverine, like he was the underdog all the time. You're rooting for him. Now he's beaten pretty much everyone except Levon. So it's like now he's like all these matches he just is absolutely dominating people, and he's like not the underdog anymore.
Yeah.
So people.
I mean, like the
Chance
Shaw match was ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
And he dominated Oleg like ridiculous.
And like I had no doubt that he was gonna absolutely destroy Oleg. Like there's nobody in those classes. Like there's only, I know everyone says that he's dodging Europeans, even though he's arm wrestled like all of them now. But there's only like 2 or 3 people who could probably beat him. Like Levon can beat him, we know that. He already beat Hermes, but Hermes definitely has a chance. Jerry, I think, has a very good chance, and then Vitaly, and then there's Gennady and Michael, but those are a little bit more of a stretch. But there's not many people who can beat Devon anymore, and that's evident. So he's not the underdog anymore, like you said. Yeah, I think that's about it. We got our dog sleeping over here. Look at that. Oh, say hi. All right.
Comment your thoughts below, what you think of the state of arm wrestling right now and where it should go, and how you guys think it can get to like a bigger audience, and what you think of Devon's antics. Just comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.